CBF. My friend.
Lone Taro, my friend.
Lone Taro. You finally finished your first Kamen Rider installment. From beginning to end. All 49 episodes.
Why, yes, I did.
My favorite installment, in fact.
Damn.
Kaiser, you also finished it. You've seen Kamen Rider before, you've seen multiple installments before from beginning to end, but still, this is... For CBF, this is a bit different.
Sure.
So, okay, now jokes aside, CBF, your answer to the next question I will ask you now will determine the future of our friendship. You do not get multiple answers, you get one answer with multiple variations.
Okay.
Ending, good or bad?
The multiple I will say, 49 is better than 47 and 48. 49
That is the
good.
right answer.
We got
That
him.
is the right
We got
answer.
him.
That is the right answer. Now, Kaiser, ending, good or bad?
Yeah, definitely good. I'm a little spotty on a couple things, but it's mostly...
Yeah, we all are, but it gets the important stuff down.
Yes.
Yeah, I am immensely mixed on 47 and 48, but 49, banger.
Yeah, I am not gonna turn my ass around and pretend that Wakano being like, "Oh, brother-kun, I'ma sacrifice myself for you now," isn't something the show pulled out of its ass.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't really care. It's called Kamen Rider W, not Kamen Rider W and Wakano.
Yeah, or Shroud just dying in her arms either.
Yeah, she just randomly dips.
Yeah, that is some Heisei Phase 1 shit. Like, that exact thing happened in Kamen Rider Agito once. I swear it's like, what's his name, Toshiki Inoue came in, who, if you didn't know, wrote like a lot of the Heisei Phase 1 ones, especially the heavy drama ones, just to write that one scene. But that doesn't matter. So, let's start from something innocuous. CBF, I told you that in the last 3 episodes, there is a very controversial moment. Not in the last episode, there's a very controversial scene that is absurdly stupid that you are either going to love or hate. Which scene do you think I was talking about?
Him catching the attack, Shotaro catching the attack with his hat.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like...
Here's the thing.
CBF? No, here's the thing, CBF.
Yeah?
You can have whatever opinion you want on that scene, but fuck you, I say it's awesome.
You know, I was going to say, I'll allow it. I will allow it.
Awesome! It's awesome!
Yeah,
it's
awesome! Shotaro Goten so hard!
It's so dumb, but it's so cool. I can't hate it. I can't hate it.
I can't hate it, and that's partially because, to be honest, the majority of the arc was fucking terrible anyway, outside of the moments that mattered.
I wouldn't go quite that far.
I'm not sure. Listen, I'm not gonna give this, the last arc a freaking 10 out of 10 or whatever, but I wouldn't say it's freaking terrible.
It's like, it has the lowest lows in the series and some of the highest highs just mingling together.
Yeah.
The way they wrapped up the plot with like Foundation X and a lot of that stuff, it was terribly rushed and it was just based on stupid shit. And the villain, while there is something kind of interesting with his loneliness that only gets brought up here, yeah, no, he sucks, and in episode 48 he just decides not to be anywhere near as powerful. But almost everything regarding Philip and Shotaro was amazing.
Yeah, that everything with them is perfect.
I agree. See why I told you though to watch the movie partially so you can know about Neva? Because otherwise, can you just imagine if you didn't watch the movie and you didn't know about Neva? Like, that guy would be like, haha, I am a Neva, and you'd be just like, the fuck is that? What does that mean?
Never, more like never heard of that shit. What the fuck are you talking about, dog?
Yeah. That's an odd problem that the series has. I can imagine some other Kamen Riders have it too, where some important things are saved.
It was in
into
one
the
of the movies.
Yeah. Like this, and what happened regarding Narumi Sokichi, and when Akiko, the daughter, would finally get to know.
Yeah. So, there is one scene that I told you, Shotaro, you thought he was S tier, but he wasn't. He was A tier up until these last 3 episodes, because there are further peaks you did not know existed. That peak is the scene of him ugly crying when he's about to close the double driver.
Yep.
Yes, that...
Now, where is he on your scale now?
Oh yeah, I know. He is, yeah, he is...
He went higher.
He is S tier. He is smoking sexy style from Devil May Cry 5. Like, that, and especially when he opens up the final gift, which partially also is like, a single driver, what's this? And then you have to be like, oh yeah, that was a thing that existed in the movie. But...
Which, by the way...
Technically, there are 2 of them. There are at least 2 of them.
Okay.
So Kichi had one, and Eternal had one.
Ah, okay, so you can argue that was Sokichi's.
Maybe, which, by the way...
Well, it fits, because, you know, he wore the hat. It's like, he became the new Sokichi by embracing his own weakness and working through that.
And that scene broke me a bit. That scene kinda broke me. Like, even on just as much. Just like, feeling the grief in real time when he says goodbye to his friend. And feeling it again, seeing the final words and the final gift that was meant for after this was over.
That's such a great scene. I love how this episode is not afraid to make Shotaro just, like, ugly cry, like the Shin movie. Like, he just stands there, and he cries, and cries, and cries, and so much of that arc is so rushed. But then you get to the scene where like, Philip is about to close the double driver, and, like, Shotaro stops him, and he's like, no. I'll do it. And it just, like, lingers on those 2, like, next to each other, talking, looking in front of each other, and just, like, sure.
But it almost makes me wish we had seen something like that beforehand. Not because of, like, oh, like a build-up or whatever, but it's such a nice visual. Like, you see this sometimes in things like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or other stories where it involves, like, you know, 2 protagonists being in one body or something like that. And you have a scene that is, like, similar to that, where mentally they are latching on to each other. I love that so much. It just gets me every time. I wish they did just a little bit more. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just seeing the look on Shotaro's face as, like, his soul is being shredded and he has to make that decision himself. Like, his face just crinkles more and more as the scene unfolds and he can't even look at Philip.
Yeah, and he can barely bring himself to stop the tears either.
Yep.
But we are getting ahead of ourselves, aren't we? Let's go
the
to where
final
it all
episode.
began. Oh yeah, the final episode.
Oh, all that. No, the final episode. The final episode goated so hard. Shota goat. Shota goat. Shota goat. Shota goat. Shota goat. The last episode completed him. He's perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, man, finally seeing the man who started off as this absolute half-boiled wannabe, who admittedly did have some cool skills and did have the charisma. Seeing him truly come more into his own and know that even a year later he's still dealing with all his grief and that he still wasn't perfect because nobody's perfect. Just like seeing all that, and especially like the interactions he had with the kid, especially later on when the kid managed to stand up to all those thugs that kidnapped his sister to try to get the Gaia memory she took and she sold. It's like, that stuff was nice. And seeing the way Shotaro pretty much like bounced off of him and treated him just like almost akin to what I'd imagine someone like Narumi Sokichi or even Jin would have, or like Mikio would have treated him if he were that boy's age. And he had that spirit in him.
Yeah. I love the implication how in the final episode, Shotaro is, to a young kid, what Sokichi is to him. That's the thing that really completes Shotaro, that he is in that position where he's ready to pass the torch to somebody else, spiritually speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he actually gets some freaking respect, which I absolutely love.
By the way, I just have to tell you guys, that kid is in Futo PI.
Oh,
cool.
Sweet.
Oh.
And he becomes one of the new informants.
Oh, nice. All right.
Oh, so the kid in the anime sequel that came like 12 years later. So we didn't even know about any of this. I can only imagine how much harder this stuff would have hit before all that.
Yeah, so CBF, remember that time I told you, oh yeah, actually, like, the anime is set sometime in between the series?
You were fucking lying.
Yes, I was, because I was really hoping that in your head it wouldn't click.
Yeah, it never clicked.
If it is a sequel, if it clicked that it's a sequel and Philip is in it, that means Philip lives.
Oh, the thing is, I already knew it. It already clicked. That's why I kept trying to dispute you.
Oh my god. Look, I think the important thing is that I think the story is good. My based opinion is above everybody else's.
I'm sorry? Our based opinion. Insert Bugs Bunny meme here. Communist Bugs Bunny meme. Our based opinion.
Just... The thing that really brought the final episode together for me, the thing that I really loved, remember when, like, Philip comes back and Shotaro instantly, like, loses his shit and, like, bro hugs him and drags him around?
Yeah.
That was so adorable and perfect. And he's just, like, yelling. He's yelling with joy.
Yeah, you can just see on even, like, the actor's face that, like, it feels like this immense weight is just off of him now. And he's just so freaking elated. You can't even tell whether he's just laughing, crying, confused, or all three.
Yeah, it must have been all three. And then also seeing Philip interact with the kid that Shotaro basically was like, hey kid, you did the right thing. Like, after they had their stuff together, that was also adorable.
Although that was a little on the nose where he said that, oh, you can even join our little group someday, what? You know, okay, alright, you're pushing it a little bit, Sho.
It's like, yeah, sure, nice.
I like it, it's cute.
You're pushing it a little bit.
Yeah, and besides, you're not the one who should be saying that. Shotaro is. He's the face of the city.
Fair. Can I just say I also love that bit of respect Shotaro got from Santa-chan about that.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Oh, yeah. You know what's so funny about the last episode? Santa-chan owns a store.
Yes.
Yeah. And we actually get to see him without his hat in the last few episodes as well.
Yeah, he has a store with a job. Santa-chan has a job.
Yeah, he has a store, he has a job, he's bald, and his subordinate turns out to have been a gang leader.
I'm pretty sure we knew he was, his employee, but I'm pretty sure we already knew he was bald.
Yeah, he's always been bald.
I guess I must have forgotten. But the important detail is, fuck that employee. He just like stopped like, no, stop ignoring me. I am the leader of EXE. We will take over museum.
Yeah, I just love how Philip and Shotaro just completely forgot he existed.
Yeah, they were just doing all this heartfelt get-together thing, and Philip explains the whole, song and dance of how he got back, which is kind of bullshit, but let's get over it a little bit.
It is kind of bullshit, but let's get over it. I don't care.
But then this guy came in. Hey, stop ignoring me. I will create my own gangster. I'll be a gangster on my own with blackjacks and hookers, okay?
And then they're like, nah, bitch. It's double time. Runs at him.
Yeah.
Just jumps
literally double time.
By the way, I'm guessing you were immensely satisfied, CBF, to just, see, us revisiting some of the old dope pants and Shotaro just bitch slapping them around like it ain't no big thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Were those some of the old ones? I forget.
Yeah, you had the, Anomalocalypse, thing that was from, episode 6.
Oh, right.
And you had the cockroach dope ant that was, the neat guy, the Hikikomori guy, who stole the 4 out of the 6 guy memories from Philip and Shotaro. I think, what was it, episode 9? Ain't episode 8? Episode 10, CBF?
Yeah, I think it was 7 and 8, which was the Cyclone Breakdance episode, which, actually, now that you mention that, let's bring it around to the beginning.
I really want to coom over the last episode, though.
We do.
We already coomed enough. We did it enough.
I know, but we need to really pave the way there.
Okay, a final thought before we move on. CBF, is Kamen Rider Joker not the sickest thing ever? Literally every time Shotaro henshins in that last episode, you're just like, Shota goat, Shota goat, Shota goat. It's kind of funny how it actually gives you what you want, but also not what you want. Because it makes him that strong, tough guy, the face of the city, but it's underpinned by the sorrow of losing Philip.
Yeah.
It's a little depressing, but it's also kind of cool.
And hey, now that he's back, he'll still have the best of both worlds in Futopii.
Well,
probably.
Well, Yeah, kind of. Well, he will go back to being a goofball, because, that's his privilege. That's Shotaro's privilege. He gets to not be like Sokichi. Because I love how Akira points out, like, when Shotaro does the whole hard-boiled blah blah thing, Akira is like, why is that a good thing, though? And he's like, alright, it's not. You don't want to be like that.
Yeah, no, and then he just like starts having a minor fit. It's like, yeah, no, some of that Shotaro-ness is still there. He can only evolve so much.
Yeah, I only noticed this time around. He took the bullet in the back, protecting other people just like Sokichi in episode 1. That's when you know Shotaro really is the new Sokichi, but his way.
Yeah, but the fact that he got protected in the end by Philip, it kind of bookends that whole, like, cycle of his development. Because now, he is who he is because he actually has someone else who, overhandedly, symbolically has his back, her, and he's able to go on and succeed where he could not.
Yeah, they're both able to succeed where they previously couldn't, because episode 1, they both essentially failed. None of them could stop them, and they've both been riddled with guilt this entire time. Especially Shotaro, but the first movie and some other times remind us that Philip feels it too.
Yeah, see, that's why I told you, like, the last episode, you'd either love it or hate it, because it's controversial, because some people think, no, like, we need stakes, Philip should have stayed dead, and people think that episode 48 is a better ending. But I would argue, I do like the idea of there being consequences and not fully happy endings, but I'd argue that episode 49 is more appropriate for this show, because the entire show is about Shotaro not being like Sokichi, him carving a new road that is contingent on not having to bear that pain and loneliness and isolation that made Sokichi able to function, but is not right for Shotaro.
Right. Now, granted, we can say that, like, the way of getting there could have been made a little bit better, true, but we still have certain consequences. Wakana is still gone. There are a bunch of people that are still gone as a result of that.
I guarantee you, in weeks, months, and years to come, you will not remember those silly little details. What you will remember is the highs, and you'll remember the bros broing out.
Yeah.
That's why, CBF, I sent you that one gif yesterday of just them on the couch, like, listening to Wakana on the radio, just, like, dancing and bopping in their chairs.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that you'll remember, even if you don't remember that specific scene.
Yeah, like back when they didn't know and therefore had a better opinion on Wakana, and back when she was better written. And also, to be fair to 49, the road to getting there to the ending for 47 and 48 could have been done significantly better. In fact, it was, again, most of that was really bad when it wasn't focusing on Philip and Shotaro basically having to part. And also that very nice scene where everyone gets together to have a Philip send-off party, even if only our main guys know the actual reason for it.
I love that. I like
It's
that.
kind of cute, but it's also kind of stupid. It's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
That's a big bit of the last 3 episodes. You just have to go fuck it, because it got the right stuff right. By the way, can we just talk about the fact that the show had the balls to, like, burn Ryu alive and with no music, just have him, like, scream in pain and crawl on the ground while he's, again, burning alive?
He got folded. Oh my god.
Like, man, the show did not pull punches there. The only punch it pulled is not making his flesh look like more, like, actually burned.
Yeah.
He was like a freaking mummy after that scene and after, the aftermath of Philip dying.
Yeah, but I saw that scene, I was like, wow.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah. Shroud 2.0, question mark?
Oh, shut the fuck up. I also really love just like Shotaro and Ryu just running into the lab and he's like, leave this to me, Hidari, and he just takes on the masquerade dopants and they bust in there, they're beating the shit out of the agents with their bare hands. I'm like,
Yeah, like the way they stormed in was so damn cool as well.
Baller.
That it has probably my favorite just crowd action in the entire show. Including the movies.
I love how Wakana and Saiko just decided to become good guys again, because, fuck it, why not?
Yeah, they're like, screw this other guy, this guy is worse.
Like, with Saiko it makes a little more sense, but it's still like...
Yeah.
Alright, man. Well, to be fair, I mean, there wouldn't necessarily be all that much else. There's no reason for her to help the bad guy either, but yeah.
Yeah, no, he was pushy and clingy, and she didn't really like him. And had no reason to believe that he loved her.
I mean, there's no reason for him to love her in the first place, dog.
True. He was also very much trying to keep himself in check because, you know, he's not quite human anymore. He's a never. He's a zombie. He feels loneliness.
Fuck off, CBF. That has nothing to do with it, come on.
Hey, that's what Double said, not me.
By the way, can we all just agree that Utopia Dopant is cool? Like, is it the best final boss design? No, but it's cool. It's cool, like, come on. We all like it when he was like, Air the Force pimp smacking Ryu with his pimp cane, right? Right? Like, that was cool.
Yeah, which makes me go, why aren't you using your cane in basically all of episode 48 anymore, man? Come on, that's where your power is.
Well, no, it's not. I think he was just doing it to show off.
Yeah, but when he didn't use it, he was a bitch. When he used it, he was a baller.
Yeah, when he didn't use it, his punch could be blocked by a hat.
Exactly. When he wasn't using it, he was a bitch. He should have used it. But anyway.
You wanted to go back to the beginning.
Yeah, this isn't the Kamen Rider Double episodes 47 through 49 episode. This is the Kamen Rider Double episode.
Lone Crit, we are spoiling the audience.
Yeah, you want to go back when people didn't block punches with hats.
Yes, back when the city was Shotaro's garden. Just like, that line, that was like what really cinched it for me, where it's like, Shotaro is like, yeah, this is a guy I want to follow. He has all, like, the style, the theatrics, and the flaws of someone who really wants to nail that stuff.
And he's a dumbass.
Yeah, so it's like, this is someone I want to follow. Someone who can better earn those moments for himself. Because he's already cool enough, but he could be cooler.
I love, by the way, how when this episode's done, it'll just be called Kamen Rider Double episodes 47 through 49, featuring the rest of the show.
Basically. The mere idea, just like, these two guys that take over the agency, and then the daughter, Akiko, shows up, is like, hey, we're gonna foreclose your shit.
Oh, by the way, I gotta love when Akiko just gives Philip and Shotaro the ball in episode 48, and then she's like, I'ma leave you two to talk now, and it's like, oh my god, Akiko has unlocked skill, tact.
Yes, the one thing she barely has ever had.
And it was super effective. But yeah, okay, first question, what do y'all think about the first few episodes of the show? Or the first few stories?
Yeah, that stuff was very consistent for the majority of, like, the first 10 episodes, the first 5 arcs. Just, like, the way it initially was paced with just, like, showing things off, especially on Shotaro's end for the first one. The reveal of, how we get to learning that Philip doesn't quite know much anymore about his family in the second arc. That was great. Seeing just some of Shotaro's vulnerabilities in terms of the kids in episodes 5 and 6. And just seeing Philip being Mr. Autismo just like the rest of us in episodes 7 and 8, where he just gets this hyperfixation with breakdancing, and then once all that's all taken care of, it's like, fuck, get that shit out of my face. I don't want to deal with that anymore.
I just really, oh my god, I love Philip and his like very sudden fixation so much, because that's when we can say we had a breakdancing episode. We can say we had the episode where Philip learned to breakdance.
Yeah, where he and another guy just basically just kept jumping someone while breakdancing, and then Shotaro joined in, and they were all just jumping this guy, the enemy Dopant, while breakdancing. Jujutsu Kaisen ain't got shit on this.
Oh, wait a minute. I gotta go that far, buddy.
By the way, I understand how, like, Junkazu is not a good final villain, and Isaka is a meh intermediary villain.
Yeah, he's a decent enough
But
one.
remember our first major villain? Kirigoto?
Kirihiko the Goat. Man, just like the way he was introduced made him seem so baller, and it was a weird and interesting turn where eventually it's like, no, this man, he's become disgraced after Shotaro pulled a cheap trick on him, and now he's become a domestic abuse victim who needs to claw his way back up to the top.
Yeah, low key, but high key though, there are some moments with the guy where it teeters very close to that idea, and I'm all like, god damn, he doesn't fucking deserve this.
Until you remember that,
Doesn't
no.
he?
Well, maybe not doesn't deserve this.
He's a drug distributor. He's a drug metaphor distributor.
Yeah, he's a drug dealer.
But he doesn't give it to kids. He leaves the kids out of it, and that's why he needs to go.
If he doesn't give it to kids, that makes him cool.
Well, it makes him cooler than the rest of the family. The rest of the family doesn't have those standards.
And it definitely makes him cooler than current YouTubers nowadays.
True.
Wait a sec, CBF, what about Wakana?
What about Wakana?
Well, in the beginning of the show, she wouldn't have given drug metaphors to kids.
Well, true. I don't even think she ever gives drug metaphors to anyone. She just becomes the ultimate drug metaphor.
Yes.
For the Earth.
Heroin.
It's Sayako, the older sister, who really fucking hates her because, like, oh no, she gets to have a life. She gets to do all this stuff with the radio show, and eventually she gets picked instead of me to be the museum successor by Daddy Dearest, who also abused us as kids after Mommy left.
So, I don't really want to talk that much about Wakana, because it's like, we can just all agree the show dropped her and never picked her back up, right?
We can say that about Sayako as well, to a lesser extent, too.
No amount of Life Alert would be able to save that character development. Jesus Christ.
No, I feel like Psycho was still relatively consistent, it's just that the show didn't have as much to do with her at the end, as opposed to Wakana that it just did bad, stupid things with.
Yeah, it's just like, when she immediately learns what's going on and just hard pivots to, alright, I am now the emissary of museum. Meanwhile, Wakana's just been on her warpath, but that becomes very one-note, rote, and kind of embarrassing after a while.
Which I thought at first they were going to justify it by saying that she was mind-controlled, but it's like, no.
We only really get to see the impetus for it in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Did we?
Sort of.
Well, yes, because there was that, like, remember there's, like, that brief, like, mind-space conversation.
No, I saw it, but...
It's like, at the very least, we get to see some of it, at least from a future perspective, where she's recalling her dad being like, and this, my child, this is why. It's something.
No, it's not.
It's not much, but it's more than what we got before, which was nothing but, alright, come to my lab, we will show you.
I think a perfectly valid explanation would have been that she felt betrayed when Philip didn't show up, and then she felt too vulnerable already trying to take that hard turn in his life to listen to him again, and instead went down a toxic path of doubling, tripling, and quadrupling down. She could have basically been written like Azali in Orphen, that I'm on the second to last episode of, and that would have been okay.
Yeah, too bad it wasn't.
Remember when Azali just, like, felt betrayed by Childman and then kept being on some hardcore copium every time she got an indicator that he was trying to save her? So much that she went the other way around and instead trying to end him and his existence and usurp everything that he was?
Remember when Orphan was good?
Yeah, in the final stretch of the show.
Yeah.
And now it has a second season that people like even less, and it has a re-adaptation that has multiple seasons that nobody likes, and it looks significantly less good than the old ones.
I don't like that. I don't like
Coming
that.
soon to a podcast near you.
Kill yourself.
You guys can get on that. But yeah, back to a better show. Probably.
Oh, by the way, CBF, you said you were teetering between a 7 and an 8.
7.
What's it gonna be, bud? Okay, that's
Yeah,
fair.
it's a 7. It's like,
Same here.
a lot of the individual stories are great, except for a few that are very iffy. And when much of the stuff regarding the overarching plot really takes a head in the last third, a lot of that really does fall off a cliff. But there are several really great stories, both in terms of like the more lighthearted ones, yeah, like the breakdancing episode, the magician's daughter episode, and like some of the others, and even some of like the more heartfelt ones, like the one with the father who wrote a memoir about a story basically about his daughter, and became a dope.
And we had the funniest episode in the show.
Yes.
Yeah, simultaneously, because the doll, like the effects, the way they shot the doll attacking, that was peak hilarity. And then we get him where he's just like, hey, these guys said that I was being ingenuine and that I was using my daughter for all this shit. How dare they? I will kill all of these critics, even though my book is generally critically acclaimed.
And I'm gonna make my doll daughter pull its go-go gadget knife and gun.
Which, can I just say, we have never, with all the enemies that we've seen, that I've seen, from the Kamen Riders that I have watched from beginning to end and, took glimpses at, I have never seen a much more dastardly
hilarious
foe. That too, as the doll just whooping fucking Double's ass.
Yeah, just demolishing Double, demolishing Akiko, demolishing Teru Ryu, who had only just come in like 10 episodes earlier, right after Kirihiko sacrificed himself, by the way, and then he was like, bleh, I hate the wind, I hate this city. It's like, fuck you. And then he's doing this shit, like 6 episodes later, getting his ass whooped by a doll. But yeah, back to the first third with Kirihiko.
The power creep is real.
Yeah, oh, before you go about that, I just love how we have a doll dopant, a car dopant, and a dream dopant. I love how somebody clearly watched Child's Play, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Christine.
Yeah.
Yeah, the car story is one of the worst stories, by
We
the
don't
way.
talk
Same
about that
for
one.
the
We don't
dream
talk
one.
about that one.
Also pretty mid.
Yes.
Double does have some mid stories, even outside of the final third, where a lot of the narrative really goes to shit. But it has a bunch of great ones.
Out of curiosity, would you prefer if, you have alternating good and bad stories? Stories with really good stuff and really bad stuff in them? Or if you had just entire segments of the show where it's just good or just bad?
I have no idea, but that's because Double has all three.
Because it was gonna be like, you are gonna watch Fies one day, and the first half is going to be great, it's gonna be amazing, and the next section is gonna suck, and then the end is gonna have some mixed stuff.
Yes.
Gotcha. So the same as Double, but in completely different doses.
The order's kind of swapped up, especially in the middle portion. How I see Fies is how I also see Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains.
Kinda how I see Code Geass, if you include R2, just from episode 1 to episode 50.
Agree or disagree. Anyways.
Kirihiko.
Fucking the beginning part. Yeah, Kirihiko is great. I love how he has so much of. He is just a weirdo in a similar sense that Shotaro is. Like, they're both kind of the same, but just on the opposite sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, but Kirihiko can get women.
And then they'll dump him. Meanwhile, Shotaro can't get a girl, and every time it looks like there's a potential, no, they're also crazy. Like Kirihiko's sister, which was also a great story, just because the thing is with Kirihiko, after he was like, no, I have standards, I'm gonna confront Museum about these drugs, Gaia memories, drugs to children. He helps them take that stuff out after he starts dying, and then goes to confront Psycho, be like, let's leave this, come with me, I love you. She's like, nah, bang. And he dies, just being like, oh well. Ah, man, what a beautiful sunset. I love this city. That was a beautiful, beautiful moment. And then just the ways that he still maintains relevance after his death with stuff like Futokun, his wardrobe that Isaka was given closer to the end of his life when Saeko actually started genuinely loving this guy. And then of course, Kirihiko's sister coming in, and that story was beautiful.
One of the best episodes.
Can we just talk, by the way, about how one of our major villains was a weirdo pervert freak, but they're monsters, so it's fine.
Basically.
He would fit very well on Tumblr.
Literally felt Psycho up while licking his lips.
Her monster form, guys, her dopant form, so it doesn't count. And she consented.
Oh yeah, and she consented. There was consent. This is a kid show. Allegedly.
Ah, jinx! Knock on wood.
No, I did it an entire second before you.
I saw us say it at the same time.
I will edit the final thing after you edit the audio. I can have say on this. I have the power here.
Salty bitch.
But yeah, just that story. The best time that it seemed like Shotaro has someone that can be up to the same weirdness as him, and it turns out she was just doing her master plan to basically recreate the circumstances the next day with her time dopant power, so that he could basically attempt to unknowingly assassinate a Psycho specifically. And then basically tries to brush it up like, nah, I wasn't trying to do that. This ain't about revenge after all that gets stopped. Cut to next episode, she is very much on the warpath to revenge against Sayako after she tries to quote-unquote team up with her.
It's so funny how, like, I don't know, maybe 10 episodes prior, we have literally a very similar revenge story against Sayako, but this one just steamrolls in and becomes much, much better. I mean, here's the thing, that one had some good moments in it.
Yeah, the villain was hot.
Especially... Yeah, so you understand.
Yeah, that's right, Teruyu. You understand. You also got a little weak for her.
Yeah, but like, the fact of the matter is that had some good moments in it. It would have been better
if the second episode didn't exist.
The chick who was trying... Specifically, if the chick was not genuine in working with Sayako for no freaking reason, and just did what this chick did, which is two-time her ass.
And then it unfortunately didn't work because Sayako is stronger.
Yeah, I do wish they focused more on the idea of how, like, Gaia memories can, like, poison people's minds and alter their personalities. Oh well.
Yeah, because I feel like they just kind of pull their ass when it's convenient.
Yeah, when they feel like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like how they have different tiers, like some are stronger than others, and some can level up when they feel like it. Like, Nazca's the only one that levels up to level 2 when Kirihiko has it, and then suddenly when Sayako gets it, it's like, oh, I've already unlocked level 3 because I'm just better than everyone else. That's why my other thing was stronger than almost everyone else, because I'm just built different. Father, why won't you accept me? I'm built different. Stop accepting my little sister. I hate my little sister. I'm gonna kill you both.
I mean, there is the idea.
I'm fed up with this world.
Oh, shut the fuck up, Kaiser. Look, she did not hit her. She did not. Oh, hi, Kirihiko.
But man, I swear, this is a good show, we swear. Because man, some of those individual stories, the way we get to see Shotaro and Philip interact with so many of the citizens' regular denizens that give them their information, it is charming every time. And their dynamic is spectacular.
Wait, where's our tier list of denizens? Like, who's our favorite? Is it Sanda-chan, Elizabeth, Queen, or Watcherman? Or anybody else who's not coming to me right now?
Well, like Mikio and frickin' whatever the bitch assistant's name is?
No, just the information people. I don't know if I'd count Mikio, because he's one of the police. He's not, like, kind of a rogue. I like Watcherman a lot.
That's fair.
I think it's a tie between Watcherman and Santa-chan.
Of course, the Massaja people will put the men above the girls. The AKB48 girls.
Alright, and then where would you put them?
Yeah, where would you do it, asshole?
They're all equal in my eyes.
Oh, that's such a weak-ass bitch answer.
Fucking centrist-ass motherfucker.
Okay, what were you gonna say before though, Kaiser?
Alright, I was going to say, in terms of Shotaro and Philip's interactions, can we just say that the freaking karaoke contest episode featuring the legendary late GOAT, Mr.
Oh, nice job, dumbass. Ichiro Mizuki.
Ichiro Mizuki.
The man who loves red.
I like how you build that up only to, like, faceplant by forgetting his name.
That's a Shotaro moment if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, I was about to say Jigsaw Miyasama. But, like, yeah, Ichiro Mizuki was in this episode, and, like, Philip and Shotaro were at probably some of their best with this, because they were actually kind of fire with the insert song that they did.
It's just too bad it wasn't a different insert song.
Also, I'm going to say that my favorite line in the show is, "That is the worst thing ever, Zat!" And I may or may not use that in future videos from here on out.
Well, you know, imagine go do that, motherfucker.
Oh, let's also talk a little bit about Teruyu Ryu, might as well, because we've barely talked about him, even though he's pretty good.
Yes, Ryu is great.
He's neat. I don't know, for secondary riders, for me, he's about in the middle.
I haven't seen any other main shows, so he's just like, he's a solid edgelord secondary rider who slowly learns to soften up and choose
Respect Shotaro.
Respect Shotaro.
Respect Shotaro and choose love over hatred and revenge, even though Shroudo, which we will always keep calling her Shroudo instead of Shroud, who is, of course, Philip's mother. I caught it almost instantly. She's just like, no, choose hate. You and Philip must become Cyclone Axel. Embrace hatred in order to defeat Museum. And then eventually he's like, nah. Alright, do trial. Here's this trial thing to get stronger. you'll probably die, but do it. And then afterwards is like, no, choose hatred anyway, because like, I don't like Joker, I don't like Hidari Shotaro, which, that is unbased.
I think you're forgetting. When she timed him, he went over the timer and she just told him he succeeded. She set him up to die.
Yeah, because, like, yeah, that too. Like, at first she's like, no, you're gonna die if you keep doing this. And then eventually she's just like, fuck it, yeah, you won. You did it, King. You did it. Good job. Crosses her fingers.
No, with the trial memory, she was timing him and she had to do 10 seconds, but when she said, good job, you did it, she lied.
Yeah, that's why I literally just said she crossed her fingers afterwards. Just
okay.
like, he kept failing over and over and over.
Dementia
and then after
crit
enough failing,
moment.
she's like, yeah, cross my fingers, good job, King, you did it. When he was starting to be like, alright, I'm getting the hang of this. Just like, his arc was a little uneven, but it was still pretty solid. This guy whose entire family was murdered by Isaka. And then it turns out he was supposed to be the one to take on Museum, but when she gave it to him, she wasn't a good judge of character. She didn't realize that this guy was going to be an abhorrent piece of shit who basically did this domino effect. And she tried to put up a front as well until they're like, no, you didn't mean for this to happen, did you? No.
She tried to pull an all according to Keikaku.
Yeah, no, just to try to bring in whatever lasting flames of hatred was left in Terui.
No, I totally did that on purpose.
Then we got some nice moments to see just like how he was prior, like with his family as well. Like,
He used
seeing,
to
like,
smile.
He used to smile a lot. He used to be very bashful, and then just seeing him just become this 2008 edgier version of Nero from DMC4, complete with the revving sword.
Funny you should say that, because this came out in 2011.
Yeah,
Not far off.
not far off.
So someone somewhere got ripped off.
So, Kaiser, here's my question for you.
Alrighty.
Now that you've finished, where would you put Shotaro in your list of Kamen Rider protagonists relative to other character protagonists? Inui Takumi, Yusuke Godai, Kido Shinji. Am I forgetting any? Minami Kotaro.
Okay.
Takeshi
Well, I
Hongo?
haven't finished Black yet. If we're talking about Shin Hongo.
Yeah.
So, in terms of that, Shinji definitely at the bottom. Kotaro, from what I've seen of him, is the next one up. I would say... Okay, spoiler alert. Everybody's below Godai. Everybody's just below Goat Die, okay? That's just how it is.
How dare you have a totally valid opinion?
I always hear that Kuga just like always trounces everything that came before and after.
Look, it's not our fault Kuga's the best installment.
Yeah, but it's that aside, with all of this stuff in mind...
Shotaro Takumi.
Yeah, that's the real question. I will put Shotaro slightly above Takumi.
See?
Slightly. By a very thin margin.
So what you're saying is Fies is around the quality of Double, and I should watch that soon enough.
Yes. Do that.
Yes.
Honestly, I think you might like Takumi more.
You would. You just will like less about the things around him.
Oh, I know, right? Look, for me, like, who I like more really just depends on my mood that day between those two.
That's fair. I love the sense of connection that we get to have, not just between our main characters and eventually our main four, but also just with the city, some of its inhabitants, and just the way they emphasize connection in this one, which is so far against the sorrow that was with like the original and Shin Kamen Rider, where it's like, even though they can have each other, unfortunately, things will always have to stand alone, at least some of the time. But here, it's like, no, you never truly have to be alone. And even if you do, we will always have your back, even if it's eventually. The city is yours to protect, it's ours to protect.
It's really cute and heartwarming, it has my favorite setting. But anyway, I am Lone Crit, this is the Newtypes podcast here with CBF and Kaiser. Final verdict, thoughts on Kamen Rider W.
Good.
7 out of 10. My brain says 7, my heart says 8.
My brain says 7, my penis says 10.
My brain says 7. My brain says 7.
What does your heart say, CBF?
You, Lone Taro, get to have the heart. I, CB Phillip, am the brains. Meanwhile, Kaiser Ryu...
Does that
I get to be... I call Ryu.
I was gonna say.
Because despair will be at the goal of anyone that goes against my based opinions.
See, just for lines like that, and many things you've said in this podcast, now, count up your sins.
I have too many to count.
Anyway, that said, wrapping up. Oh wait. And just one more thing.